This is Joshua Hart here for Seconds Out. Delighted today to be joined by Mr. Spencer Oliver. It is good to see you, man. Spencer, first of all, thank you for your time today, and how is everything?
Yeah, Josh, all good, mate, all good. Yourself?
Very, very good. All the better for being here today. Massive day for GBM Sports. Ink to deal with DAZN. Massive, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. I've got a lot of time for Izzy, as if I think he's done brilliant in the short space of time that he's been promoting. Obviously teamed up with TalkSport, which give him that platform, that leverage to move on and push on. And I always saw the vision with him, which was which I was pleased about. That he saw the vision, I saw the vision, and he's kicked on with it, and he's got this good deal now with DAZN. So yeah, very pleased for him.
And how big is this, not just necessarily for GBM Izzy themselves, but the fighters that have put their trust in Izzy over the last 2 years?
Oh, it's huge, mate. It's huge, because it's all about opportunity, and Izzy's been giving these young fighters opportunity. Like he come to us at TalkSport about getting on the streaming channel. He done that, and I think that gave them great exposure, and that's allowed him to move on now onto DAZN. And it's all about opportunity for these fighters, man. They want to be seen, they want to be recognised, and they want that exposure. And Izzy's sort of opening those doors for them, so it's a win-win.
And just moving forward, this week is a very, very big week in the cruiserweight division. We have a rematch between Chris Billam-Smith and Richard Riakporhe. What's your thoughts on the fight?
I love the fight, actually. Go back to 2019, it was a close fight. Billam-Smith pulled himself off the floor, fought back, and Riakporhe won that split decision. But they've both gone on their great careers since then. Combined 17-0. I think that Chris Billam-Smith's gone 10-0 since that last fight, and he's gone and collected the WBO world title. Richard Riakporhe's gone 7-0. He's put himself into that mandatory position, and sort of we get a different fight on Saturday night, I'm sure. Both guys have improved massively. It's an interesting fight. I'd slightly lean towards Riakporhe. I think that he may be slightly the fresher of the two, but then Billam-Smith's one of those guys that's been there, seen it, done it, and he's proven. Whereas Riakporhe maybe has not been to the places that Billam-Smith has. So it's a difficult one to call, it really is. But what I do know is you're going to have a great fight there. You've got a great undercard there as well. I'm really looking forward to Isaac Chamberlain and to Jack Massey for the European title as well. And the winner of that will be looking to fight maybe the winner of the main event. So that's a great fight as well. And an excellent undercard with Ben Whittaker, etc.
And what do you make of this fight being placed in the stadium?
Yeah, I like it. It just shows where boxing's gone to now. It's become a mainstream sport. You're getting huge boxing fans that are turning up. What are they expecting? 15,000 or so there. And I think that for Richard Riakporhe, your dream as a kid when you're boxing is to box for a world title. And what more to do it in front of your box at a stadium where you've grown up and supported so much. He's a big fan of Crystal Palace, so for him it's a dream come true. And respect to Chris Billam-Smith for giving him that opportunity. He's the champion. We've been down to Vitality Stadium and we've seen how the crowd can play a massive part in winning and losing. I think that was the case when he boxed Lawrence Okolie. He had to come through some moments, but ultimately the crowd, played a big factor in that, pulling him through those dark times and getting him through, and him eventually getting victory. So that may be the case for Riakporhe going in on Saturday night, because I think it's a tough fight. I think they both leave it all in the ring. I think it could actually turn out to be a barnstormer. We could have another Fabio Wardley, the Fraser Clark on our hands, where where they both leave it all in there, and you're thinking one guy's gone, then the other guy's gone. That's how I sort of visualise it, because I know what it means to both of these guys. For the winner, maybe Jai Opetaia, or like you said, something like that. That's where they'll be looking. Jai Opetaia's shown an interest as well. So yeah, we have to see, man. But a huge opportunity for the winner of it for sure. But a lot of pride and a lot of ego on the line. That will bring the best out of them on Saturday.
And just casting our minds back almost 2 weeks ago now, we had the 5v5 out in Saudi Arabia. I want to get your thoughts on Daniel Dubois versus Filip Hrgovic. A stellar performance. Just talk me through that performance from Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, I was one of the few that picked Daniel Dubois to win before that. I know Don Charles very well. I see Daniel in the gym and training from time to time. And I see now he's grown as a fighter, as a person. I think Don Charles has done, works brilliantly on his mindset, on the psychological side. Daniel's always had the physical attributes, but he maybe not have believed in himself before. That belief, he never had that self-belief, and I think that was maybe missing from him. Don Charles has installed that in him. So I think that together it's a match made in heaven, and I think we're seeing that in his performances. I think that forget the loss to Joe Joyce. And people forget he's only 26 years of age. Forget the loss to Joe Joyce. Like, that really was like that's the making of a fighter sometimes. It's how they come back from that. You know, he teamed up with Don Charles. They go into the Alexander Usyk fight, and you go, he done well in that fight. He done very well in that fight. I think that was the moulding of him. From then he kicked on, and the Jarrell Miller win was a good win in December, and this one really was a huge win because he showed that what he's been working on with Don Charles. He showed that in the ring there, and like, it was all about believing in himself, pressure, sticking it on him, and just didn't give him a moment's rest. I think that fitness played a huge part in it, and natural strength, speed. It was good. It was a brilliant performance, and he's put himself right in the mix.
We're talking about putting himself right in the mix. This has landed him a rumoured fight with Anthony Joshua in September. How does that fight play out?
It's a great fight. You know, if you'd have asked me that maybe 12 months ago, I don't think we'd be having this conversation, but I think that it is a great fight. Joshua will have to start the favourite because of what he's achieved, the experience that he's got, and he's on a roll at the moment. Teaming up with Ben Davison was a great thing for him. He's put in some good performances just of late, and I think that Joshua will start a big favourite, but Dubois has proved that he belongs at that level. Heavyweight boxing, man, it's going to be explosive, that's for sure, because both guys will meet in the centre of the ring. I'm hoping we get that fight, and I'm hoping it is for the vacant IBF title, because I think the roadmap here is the IBF becomes vacant because of Alexander Usyk's obligations. Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua fight for that IBF title. Let's say Anthony Joshua wins that fight, and you've got the return in December the 21st. We've got Fury versus Usyk return. Fury wins that fight, then we get the undisputed again for Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury, and that probably happens in May time. I think that's their vision. That's what they would like, because that's what's the biggest business sense. You know, that's what makes the most business sense out of all of it. So let's see how that goes. But yeah, it's an interesting one. It's the heavyweight landscape at the moment. There's some big fights out there for sure. But I'm hoping that Daniel Dubois gets his opportunity after his couple of performances against Anthony Joshua, and let's hope that the IBF title's on the line.
Out of Fury and AJ right now, who do you feel would win and why?
I've always said AJ because I think stylistically I've always gone for AJ. It's just, you know, and that's, I know him personally, so I understand him, I understand his mentality, I understand his work ethic. He lives, eats, sleeps boxing. And I think that confidence-wise, he's in the right place right now. And I think that his confidence was at a low, and that's when we saw a dip in his performances, and that was down to inactivity as well. And now he's active, he's regular, that's showing in his performances. He's starting to put his punches together. Fury, you know, has looked maybe not as best that we've seen him in his last couple of fights. Tactically, I think he got it wrong last time. Can he beat Alexander Usyk? I think he can. I think that if he gets it tactically right, I think he could win the rematch against Usyk. It's a tough ask, but I do believe that he can win that fight. I hope he does, because I hope we do get the fight with Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury, because when you've got modern eras and legacies, them two need to meet. So I'm hoping it happens, and let's hope it happens for all the marbles.
And very lastly, Deontay Wilder. Not the night for him back out on the 5v5. What did you make of his performance that night?
Yeah, I sort of said after the Joseph Parker fight that it looked like a shell of his former self, and the fight had left him. It wasn't just a bad performance. It looked like he got old overnight. The trilogy with Tyson Fury had clearly taken something out of him, like it has Tyson Fury in many ways. I'm not sure we've seen Fury at his complete best since then. You know, you have fights like that, that's taxing, those sort of fights. I think that was evident when we saw Wilder versus Joseph Parker, and it underlined it the other night on Saturday when we was out there. It was boxing has a history of fighters going on too long, and that was clear to see there with Deontay Wilder. I'm just hoping now he hangs up his gloves and calls it a day, you know, because he relit the heavyweight division in many ways. You know, he was loud, he was brash, he was explosive. So he's been good for boxing, and you know, he got into it because of his, you know, his young daughter who was, you know, not well, and they needed that financial support. Well, he's got that now. He's earned a load of money. Sail off into the sunset. Go and enjoy it, because he's been good for the sport, and I just hate to see him continue going on too long. So it was quite a sad night watching him, you know, there last Saturday.
And what legacy does he leave behind if he is to retire?
Well, I think he leaves that legacy behind of, you know, this exciting, explosive puncher. One of the biggest punchers maybe in boxing history. You know, what, that one-punch single dynamite power. And now he's lost that confidence in himself, and he's, you know, he seems to have gone gun shy. That's gone now, and without that, he's nothing. Because technically, he was never the best, but he was explosive, and he fought with his heart on his sleeve. And unfortunately, that's gone now. So I think that, you know, he'll leave a legacy as being remembered as this guy that went and blew everyone away. He's been good for the sport. He relit the heavyweight division.
Spencer, thank you very much for your time. It's always a pleasure.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Spencer.
Well done, man.
Thank you very much.